Startup Podcast page is co-produced by One CFO, Credit Hero, Y Spaces, Simp, Tuala, Gig Genius, Schooltech Bedfolio, and Red Circle Global. Check out our partners in the description.
Welcome sa Startup Podcast PH, inspiring more Filipino entrepreneurs and innovators. Andito pa rin tayo sa office ng One CFO sa Eastwood dahil meron tayong isang special episode. First time natin gagawin dito sa podcast that will talk about business strategy tips. And we have an expert for this particular topics. But before ko i-reveal ko ano yung specific topics na yan, I'd like to introduce ang ating guest. Wow. Founder and CEO of One CFO, Jay Olos. Hello, Jay. Kamusta?
Okay naman, Johnny. And always a pleasure to be in your podcast. Hello po sa audience ng Startup Podcast
Ayun.
page.
Sa series na to, actually ang gusto natin gawin, bawat episode, nakafocus sa particular problem or strategy ng mga startups. And then mag-i-invite tayo ng expert na malaki yung maibibigay na advice and possibly baka may mabigay na service or something para dyan sa problem na yan. And itong two topics natin for this episode ay number 1, cash flow management. So baka yung mga startups dyan na nahihirapan magbayad ng empleyado or may problema sa cash, maningil or something. And second, fundraising. Ayan, very, very big word in the startup world. Pero I think let's start muna pinaka-basic. Jay, ulit, ano ka ba muna ang One CFO?
Yes, thank you, Johnny. Don't worry, hindi ako mapapagod explain about One CFO. So One CFO is a fractional CFO services company and a CFO tech platform providing tech-enabled fractional CFO services, bookkeeping, tax, and even payroll services for startups, scale-ups, SMEs, and even any company of size na kami ngayon. Yeah.
Tsaka yun pala, no? Ang pansin ko din, actually, One CFO, well, ano rin may malaking part kasi talaga yung bookkeeping and tax kasi kailangan yan ng Filipino SMEs. Pero isang, hindi naman nakakalimutan, pero malaking bagay din actually na kayang ibigay ng One CFO, yung fractional CFO.
Yes.
And yung finance, parang high-level finance guidance and management for startups. But siguro, para mas malaman natin yan, pag-usapan nga natin yung particular problem na naranasan ng mga startups. Let's start with cash flow management. So sige, let's start, Jay, with ano nga ba yung specific pain points na nararamdaman usually ng mga startups? You're also a startup founder.
Yes.
You started One CFO from
scratch.
zero, from scratch. So, and I'm sure maraming makaka-relate dito. So, ano nga ba yung mga usual pain points or problems with regard to cash flow management for startups?
Well, just like any other startup, yun nga, we're also a startup, no? And we also experience yung mga pain points. Hindi rin kami immune sa cash flow problems. Pero napansin ko na very common in, I think 15 years of being in the startup industry now, locally and abroad. Ang pinakaunang problem ng mga startups is it's not about how to do fundraising pero yung from the beginning na how can you get your product or build your product and get it on the market to test it kasi it will also entail some sort of cash. It will need some cash. You need some cash to earn some cash. Especially for startups na kailangan ng upfront capital for development, especially kung may tech-oriented ka talaga. So may costing 'yon. So kailangan mong bayaran from the simple kung founder ka or dalawa kayong founders, kadalasan diyan syempre kailangan yung sumweldo, kailangan niyo magbayad ng mga hosting, servers, mga ganyan. And also mga coding tools ninyo and whatnot. So yun yung pinaka-unang problema. Where do you start? When can you where do you get the money? Para makapagsimula ka. So, ano lang naman yan at least from my experience, dalawa yung ruta na pinaka-umpisang pinagkukuhanan ng pera. Number 1 is, ito parang bootstrapping. Parang may mga startup founders na, even yung mga malalaking companies na ngayon, mga decacorns na ngayon, they started na parang they're doing some sort of a consulting on other companies where they're building their own. Parang or minsan full-time pa sila doon sa isang company while nag-start na sila ng side hustle nila which is yung startup nila. I did the second one. When I was still employed in the corporate, I very entrepreneurial ako. I started a side hustle. So the the savings that I got from my salary, kung meron mang matira pa, yun yung pinangpopondo ko. No? So, technically, bootstrapping siya coming from my source of income, whether it's salary or employment. Salary or consulting. The second one, yung isang binanggit is, yun nga, they can actually seek yung 3 Fs, friends, families, and fools. Diba? Na initial capital lang. Na kailangan mo lang para ma-release yung MVP. Pero yun kasi is kung may maniniwala sa'yo. No? So for mga repeat founders, walang problema yan. They have the network na. Pero kung nagsisimula ka, talagang uunahin mo dyan pamilya mo eh. No? Or yung mga friends mo, or yung mga or kung may co-founder ka, kung may pera yung co-founder mo, then well and good. Diba? So yun.
Still filling out loan applications for your business? Yeah, thought so. Save your time. Grow your business. With Credit Hero, one online application gets you loan offers from multiple lenders. Apply for a business loan now. Visit credithero.com.
Yeah, capital na. So ito yung capital kasi need mo talaga ng capital to hire, to get certain service, etc. Pero lagi ko narinig dito, iba yung parang capital sa cash, or especially for those operating na possibly nakabenta ka pero wala kang hard cash. So parang posibleng dumating na, let's say, medyo nag-grow ka na, medyo mga 4 or 5 employees. May customers ka. They are supposed to pay kasi nag-avail sila service. Pero wala pang dumadating na cash kasi cash yung kailangan mo ipambayad sa salary, sa kinsena, sa katapusan. So, malaki problem din ba to? Yung cash mismo, as in the hard cash that you need to pay?
Yes. Kasi, yun nga ako as a veteran CFO, I don't consider a sale really as a sale.
Yes.
Until the money hits the bank account. Or even same with fundraising. For me, the fundraising is not yet closed or done until the proceeds hit the bank account. I mean, the company's bank account, no? So, similarly, it also applies dun sa sinabi mo. Marami kasing mga, real talk lang, may mga founders kasi that they're into vanity metrics. Sasabihin nila, we have closed this contract with this big company. We're nating, $500,000 or US dollars. Pero nasan yung cash? Wala pa. It takes a while. Pero syempre, kailangan mo na magbayad. Diba? So magkaiba, tama ka, magkaiba yun. Magkaiba yung meron ka ng revenue versus merong pumasok na benta talaga, na real revenue.
So, ibig sabihin, I'm not
sure.
applicable to all, pero posibleng sinasabi ng mga startups na we hit this ARR, annual recurring revenue, pero walang cash?
Yes. Kasi, you have to understand ito, medyo magiging technical on accounting. In accounting, we have what we call the accrual basis of accounting. So, we measure in economic terms how much the value of the service or product that we sold to the market even without collecting cash pa in the beginning. So, yung cash portion na yan yung lalabas sa balance sheet nyo as accounts receivable. You have yet to collect that. No? So, kaya makikita mo may mga startups na although may revenue sila, they're still looking for sources of cash to bridge whatever, meron pa nga yung mga receivable financing kasi nga natatali sa receivable yung cash nila.
Nangyayari ba na like million yung mga accounts receivables na hindi pa nako-convert into cash? As in ganun kalaki?
Well, depending on the business model. Pero kapag halimbawa meron kang ang startup mo or company mo is kumbaga medyo matagal yung sales cycle pero matagal siya pero ang laki kasi ng value. So yes, merong mga ganon. Another one is, so ito especially dun sa mga nakapag-deal na with big companies and even government. Medyo makupad, matagal yung disbursement process sa kanila. So yes, may benta ka, tama naman, na-acknowledge nila, but because of the internal processing kasi ng payment ng mga companies na yon or even ahensya na yon, ayun, umabot, nag-accumulate siya ng millions minsan eh.
So parang ganun nga siya, no? Well, startup, pag maliit pa lang, capital talaga, the actual capital to start. And then, posible nga na even if nasa point ka na ng may customers, may traction, nakakabenta ka, wala kang hard cash. May sales ka nga, may revenues, pero walang hard cash. And at the end of the day, you need to get that cash. Kasi regularly mo babayaran yung employees, hindi lang employees, mga subscriptions, cloud, whatever, no? So, ayun. Sige, so, now, cash flow, tama ba na itong dalawa? Baka meron pa about, kumbaga, for cash flow.
Yeah, I think mostly yun lang naman eh.
Sige, so, ngayon, ano yung cash flow management? And maybe how can fractional CFO startups like One CFO can help startups? Hindi to nagbebenta tayo, pero parang, I just really want startups to understand yung mga problems na ito and ano yung mga possible solutions. And
Sure.
fortunately, isang possible solution si One CFO.
Yes. So, yes, cash flow management, my own definition for cash flow management, technically that's business management. Kasi every business, the reason why you put up really a business, sabihin natin value creation, but even in the M&A space, no, kami sa corporate finance, when we say value creation, it's all about at the end of the day, the bottom line pa rin yun is how much cash that business can be generated, no, from that business. So cash flow management is the management of cash in such a way na from end to end, from the time that you develop that product, you ship that product, you sold that product, you collected the money from that sale, up to the balancing act yan eh. Also on the cash outflows mo on payment nung salaries, renta, mga tech tools mo and whatnots, marketing expense. So it's basically making sure that you properly balance things out. Na hindi ka malulugi, you're not always on a cash burn position, but you have enough cash buffer to continue operating your business. So that for me is my definition of cash flow management. Marami pang detalyadong definition yan, but that's the overall.
Basically, tama. Actually, ganun ka basic eh. Law of the universe eh. In equals out basically. And may buffer ka for the out. Kasi hindi nga, mas regular yung out eh. Kaysa sa in eh. Diba?
Yeah.
So, maganda pa rin na may
Oo, parang ano lang yan. My analogy there is, halimbawa, sumweldo ka. Siyempre, may mga expenses ka, personal. Paano mo i-manage yung na-receive mo nung kinsenas, nung katapusan, na hindi ka naman mauubusan ng pera until the next pay period? Parang gano'n.
Ngayon, ang problem ba ay nasa number one capital mismo. Baka kulang talaga yung capital to be cash. Second, yung billing, yung act ng may revenues ka nga, pero yung pagkuha ng actual cash. Third, baka rin naman parang...
Siguro, I'll add to that, bukod doon sa revenue and expenses, meron din kasing yung inaccurate or maybe hindi ganun ka pulido na cash planning and forecasting. Kasi bukod sa revenue and expenses ng any company, meron ka rin namang capital expenditure. Bumili ka ng table na to. This will not convert to revenue right there and then. Pero malaki yung outlay na nilabas mo. So we call it CapEx, no, sa finance and accounting world. Meron din naman is the impact or na hindi visible from the get-go initially, yung taxes. Halimbawa, nagbenta ka, ang alam mong sales price is 1,000 pesos. 'Di ba? Pero alam natin may VAT 'yon. Ang totoong benta mo lang doon, hindi yung buong 1,000 pesos. It's actually 892 pesos lang if you take out the VAT. So, 'di ba? So it affects eh. Akala mo may 1,000 kang papasok, pero yung sayo lang talaga doon 892. Yung remainder noon i-remit mo sa government. So hindi sayo 'yon. So the same token, every end ng quarter or even annually, meron ding income tax. So ang ganda ng P&L mo, hindi ka nakapagtabi ng money to pay for your tax. Eh di syempre hindi pwede yun. That's a criminal offense kung hindi ka magbabayad ng tax, di ba?
So, ano rin pala siya, no? Parang pupunta din sa wrong calculation tsaka wrong accounting. Kasi, yun nga, by in paper, ito yung revenues mo. Pero, ito yung profit mo in paper pero hindi mo pala na take into account pa yung tax or yung capex, for example. So, ang pasok ba, correct me if I'm wrong, ng, well, let's say fractional CFO, like one CFO for cash flow management is gagawin ng clean and accurate and honest even yung talagang balance sheet or yung para makita
lahat.
yung cash flow. Tama
Lahat,
ba?
oo. Kasi, ito po yung difference ng CFO or a fractional CFO versus dun sa mga accountants na kadalasang ine-employ or hinahire as a consultant man ng mga businesses. Mostly ng mga accountants, yes, they can do accounting, bookkeeping for you, and even tax compliance. But they cannot guide you on properly managing the entirety of your finance. Not only the books, not only on the accounting and tax side. Kami as fractional CFO, we look at, from your business model, what are your goals and objectives are, and we help you to get there. Hindi kami bookkeeper. So, but, we work with your accountants, with your bookkeepers. Parang we complement yung on the strategy side, on the high-level finance strategy side, para mas makapag-create ng value at magkaroon ng what we call always gasgas na financial sustainability. Kasi it's not tama rin naman si Johnny, ang fundamentals kasi is proper accounting pa rin, proper bookkeeping. Kasi even kung wala po kayong libro, wala ring i-manage yung CFO. Wala ring, ano yung basis, 'di ba? Yung bank account, yung pasok labas sa pera sa bank statement. Pero we still need to identify yun eh. So kung wala kayong proper books, which is the most fundamental, wala. Hindi nyo, kahit sinong CFO ilagay nyo sa company ninyo, walang mangyayari.
Tsaka I think, Jay, meron kasi akong, I observe some companies na lumaki na, let's say, 100 employees or let's say 30, 60. Ang nagiging measurement na lang nila is kung may pera sila sa bangko. Yun na lang. I mean, ang goal nila, masweldohan yung employees, makakuha ng revenues. But hindi actually clear yung profit. Di nga natin alam, baka feeling lang pala nila profitable sila pero hindi pala talaga. Tama ba yun?
Yes, oo. Meron ako mga clients na ganyan. At even mga friends din na mga founders na ganyan. Hindi nila ma-decipher kung yung pera, lumaki yung cash in bank balance nila. Pero ang tanong ko sa kanila, seryoso ba? Totoo ba na galing yan sa kita mo? Or yung iba dyan kasi deposit from your customers. So, hindi mo pa kita yun. So, liability mo yun actually. O kaya, nag-loan ka sa bangko, may hinahalo din loan dyan. So, akala mo lumaki from the business or from your revenue or net profit, pero naghalo-halo. Kaya doon pumapasok yung proper accounting ng lahat ng pasok and labas ng pera. So, common sakit yan, lalo na ng mga MSME owners na parang, okay naman, ginagawa nilang parang extension ng wallet nila. Yung company bank account.
Gets.
Yun.
Grabe. Sige, siguro parang first yung symptom or parang when do you think an MSME or a startup should really take a look into their cash flow management? Ano yung parang symptom na nagkakaroon sila ng problema? Na baka hindi na pala na-manage na maayos, baka hindi na pala talaga profitable, baka hindi na clear, hindi na accurate. Ano yung symptom? What do you think?
Kapag meron na silang, ito very common to, in my experience, in here in One CFO, kapag nafe-feel na nila na parang, ayoko munang magbayad ng VAT ngayon. Or gusto ko mag-under-declare kasi ito lang yung cash na meron ako eh. So may mali kasi, yun nga when you sell a product or service, embedded yung VAT dyan. And you have to understand, VAT is not your money. That's money that you have to take out of your cash account and remit to the BIR. Pero ang nangyayari kasi parang nagagamit sa operations even yung dapat na pambayad ng tax. So for me, it's a very common na indication na they really need to look into the accuracy of their accounting. So that's one. And then number two, meron bang proper guidance silang na pangalawa pala is yun nga, hindi na nakakapagbayad or medyo tight na yung cash flow sa pag-meet ng mga obligations na especially yung mga recurring naman Like payroll, renta, ganyan. So,
Nagtataka sila, no? Profitable sila dapat, pero naghahabol sila ng pambayad.
yes. So, either nga kasi natali yung cash nila doon sa AR nila or inventaryo, marami pang hindi nabibentang inventaryo, or kaya naman, heavy yung naging outflow ng cash nila or expenditure nila sa capex, mga fixed assets na walang immediate return.
Oo.
'Di ba?
Kaya, sorry, pasingit lang ulit Kaya no, pag tax season, nawiwirdohan ako kasi pag tax season, nawawalan ng budget yung mga...
Yun.
Pero, I mean, kung maayos yung pag-accounting mo, dapat parang naisang tabi mo na yan di ba? Parang dapat taken into account na siya. Pero nangyayari, pag tax season, dahil kailangan magbayad ng, let's say, VAT or income tax or whatever, napabawasan yung cash, no? Parang doon lang na-account sa April, sa banda sa deadline. Pero, when you come to think of it, hindi dapat ganun. Dapat parang buong year na-account siya. Tama ba yun?
Yes, tama yun. So, kung hindi nga proper yung accounting nung lahat ng transactions, mami-misconstrue mo lahat na nung pera na nasa cash in bank mo is sayong-sayo.
Oo.
'Di ba? So, pagdating sa dulo, dahil ginastos mo na, April 15 na, teka, saan ako kukuha ng pambayad?
Yeah.
'Di ba?
So, pag May, wala na pang sweldo.
Oo, pagdating ng May, dahil
June,
nagbayad ng tax, wala nang pansweldo. Pero, doon pumapasok yung expertise naman, yung kagandahan ng pagkakaroon ng fractional CFO. Kasi, your accountants and tax, they're very essential, very foundational yung binideliver nilang libro. Pero if nobody is telling you on how to properly, coming from those reports, accounting records mo, P&L balance sheet, how do you manage your cash flow rightfully? Wala magbabagsak pa rin ang negosyo mo ayun. On the flip side, yung pangatlo namang symptoms na nakikita ko, pag sobrang laki naman nung nasa bank account mo, that's also parang may red flag din ako doon. Kasi kung halimbawa, ang ina-expect mo lang nakita mo in a year, cash-wise, sabihin natin 100,000. Ang nasa banko mo is 300,000. So there's a tendency for you to think na, ay, ang laki ng kinita ko. Ang expect ko lang 100. Sa P&L ko 100 lang. Bakit naging 300? So yun nga, papasok doon na baka yung ibang perang pumasok, hindi talaga sa'yo. So posibleng may mga deposit dyan, may mga advances coming from your clients na hindi mo dapat ginagastos kasi deposit nila yun sa'yo. Anytime, halimbawa, pag di na sila kliyente mo, they can get that deposit back. Pag ginastos mo yun na, doon ka magkakaroon ng mas mahirap na cash flow problem.
Yun pala yung other side of cash flow management. Either nauubusan ka ng cash or gumagamit ka ng cash na hindi naman dapat talaga sa'yo.
Yes, oo.
So, now sige, as fractional CFO, at may parang framework ba ikaw or si one CFO na fina-follow or parang ano yung unang titignan in a company? I mean, maybe secret ito okay lang if hindi share.
Okay lang naman.
Meron parang framework or parang step by step kung ano yung gagawin for a startup, for an MSME, for a company na possibly nga nakaka-experience ng cash flow problems.
So this is the good opportunity for me to address and clarify what's the difference of a glorified accountant and really a CFO. Kasi maraming mag-iingat po kayo kasi marami ring mga katulad ko na mga accountants na they're projecting themselves as parang fractional CFO, but they're really more of an accountant or a controller. Magkaiba kasi yun. So, malalaman nyo yan kapag when you talk to them, kung ang pinag-uusapan or lagi nang pinopoint out is compliance. Nagbabayad ka ba ng tama sa BIR? Patingin nga po ng tax returns nyo. Those are, I would say, they're really parang more accountants sila or more on accounting and compliance. Ang totoong CFO, magfo-focus yan on what your objectives are. Okay, what are your objectives as a business owner? And then, what's your business model? Iintindihin yan yung entirety ng operations mo, not just your financials. Because a real CFO understands that, yes, financials is just a byproduct or it's just like a result of a business or of an operations. So the real parang deal CFOs can talk to whoever in the business is. Sa operations, sa marketing, even outside. It can connect you to banks. They can advocate for you if you need some funding also, because these funders, lenders trust them. Kung mere accountant ka lang that really with the BIR, probably the BIR trusts you. But not necessarily yung yung other potential value adders, no, sa business na meron ka. So that's the first thing that I look into. Objective, what's the business model, what's the specific short-term and long-term goal of the business, of the founder and the business. Pag sinabi ng founder na I want to sell my business in 10 years time, as a CFO, then you need to map that out. What could be a good exit? And then from there, you work backwards. What should be the goals? What should be the target, say, revenue or bottom line, or even cash flow, so that you hit a certain valuation for a multiple for a valuation target. And then, yun na. How are you going to put some flesh to make that number realistic and be implemented? Do you need to add products? Do you need to go to a certain geography? Kaya bang sagutin ng accountant yun? Hindi.
So, ang pinaka-end nito, aside from just, well, parang ayusin nga yung cash flow, parang magiging accurate, clear yung cash flow, strategy, or parang talagang guidance on the business. So,
real CFOs talk about strategy and delivering that strategy.
So, it can really help the business grow more.
Yes. So, yun po yung differentiator. Kaya, kami, dito sa One CFO, yung mga clients namin, they know that. During the funding winter, there's this like well-known na mga well-funded also na mga tech companies who sought me for advice. Jay, magre-retrench ba kami? Or do we need to, how can we extend our runway? So I said, no, don't do retrenchment. Because I saw some opportunities where they can get cash to extend their runway. So a mere accountant or even a glorified accountant cannot do that. So yun yung differentiator.
Yes,
That's what a fractional CFO is.
Tsaka high-level business decisions. Yan, talagang yun.
Yun nga, high level, no? They know the high level. But because if a real CFO, a fractional CFO like us, they know what's happening also on the ground level.
Yes.
Kasi hindi pwedeng blindsided ka na, hindi, high level lang ako. Especially in the startup industry, na very hands-on lahat ng founders. So, yun din ang differentiator. A real fractional CFO can roll up his or her sleeves and be on the trenches with the founder.
Gets. Ayun.
So, shout out sa mga founder that, sinasamahan ko sa trenches every now and then. So, pag ayun, kilala nila kung sino sila.
At saka at the end of the day, fractional CFO nga, so parang CFO ka talaga, part C-suite ka talaga nung startup na yun. So.
And just so you know, the appointment of a fractional CFO sometimes not only a founder decision. Yung recent ko is nag-secure pa talaga ng board approval from their parent company, investors, ganyan. So I present to the board. Yeah.
Ayos. So, ayun, for cash flow management. So, sa mga startups or SMEs, any company na nagkakaproblema sa pagsasweldo or makita clearly, no, yung ano ba talaga nangyayari? Accurate ba? May cash ba talaga ako? May profit ba talaga ako? And maybe, nag-iisip, what's the best business decision to move to go to para mag-grow or makakuha ng more cash, etc. So, maybe fractional CFO is one of the possible solutions.
In today's digital world, your organization needs more than just technology. It needs a strategic partner. At Symph, we build web and mobile apps that drive innovation for startups, enterprises, and organizations worldwide. Visit symph.co today. Trust the digital future with Twala. Secure and tamper-proof digital signature. Electronic notarization service. And custom AI agents for intelligent document workflows. Visit twala.io to learn more.
Second topic natin,
Sure.
fundraising. Ayan, pero
yeah.
parang mainit-init to. Although winter ngayon, funding winter. Pero, sige, ano kami problems ng startups usually with regard to fundraising?
Preparation. Okay, kasi when you fundraise, it's not, okay, ito yung common na nagiging problema ng startup. They have an idea, inisip agad by default, I need to raise funds. But you have to check muna kasi baka yung company na binibuild mo, hindi naman nangangailangan ng sobrang laking kapital. Baka pwedeng hindi ka muna mag-fundraise agad, no? So get some traction muna, build your case, yun nga, preparation. Kasi investors will be, nowadays napansin ko, if you're raising for a seed round, may mga investors that are looking for a Series A level na metrics. So medyo, because of the, yun nga, marami rin kasing nasunog or napaso ng mga investors in the previous years Hindi nag-materialize yung mga return doon sa investments nila. Walang masyadong exit. Here in Southeast Asia, bibihira yung exit opportunities on IPO, mga ganyan. No? So maraming na-stuck. Even investors themselves, mga VCs, no, they're also having some, we're all in this together. Nahirapan din silang in a way mag-raise ng capital from their LPs kasi their LPs are also thinking about, wala kang na-return dun sa Fund 1 mo ba't ako mag-i-invest sa Fund 2 or Fund 3 mo? Diba? So, we're not just startup founders, no? We're all in this together talaga. So, back to your point on fundraising, another common problem na napapansin ko is, okay, given, may traction na, the founding team is really parang solid, good, ganda ng credentials. It's a problem of packaging. Like, ang daming nagko-coach na, ganito dapat yung pitch deck mo, ganito dapat yung presentation mo. But, most of the time, ang napapansin ko, their business model is not, and yung plans nila is not aligned with kung ano yung pinapakita nila doon sa financial projections nila. Ako, as a CFO, actually, hindi ko tinitingnan minsan yung, what's the product. After nun, what's the market. After nun, titingnan ko na yung financial model. I'm also an angel investor, by the way. Yun yung titingnan ko. Pag nakita ko na yung financial model, kasi, because I'm trained really as a finance guy, pag pinakita mo ng P&L, alam ko na kung ano yung operations mo, magme-make sense ba versus sa product and market na tinitingnan mo. So, yun ako, because I'm a trained finance guy. Kapag binigyan mo ako ng financial statement, naiintindihan ko kung nasaan, alam ko na kung nasaan yung something to fix kailangan, just by looking at your P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. So, na-train kasi kaming ganun. Yun yung problem. Kaya, ginagawa namin sa One CFO, we help founders on their fundraising preparation, no? Not only on financial modeling, valuation, or pitch deck creation, but putting really a making sense na business model for their product or idea. So, marami na akong mga natulungan na mga companies na nakapag-raise. And then, I'll be upfront also pag sinasabi ko na you're not VC backable.
Gets.
Diba? Or hindi ka investable. Pasensya na. So, I'm a finance guy. Black and white lang ako, kaya diretso ako magsalita. Kaya minsan, yabang naman itong kumag na to. Diba? Parang ganun. Pero, it is what it is.
Parang 3 steps siya Well, first, yung pinakauna, may sense ba? May sense bang mag-fundraise? And dun pa lang, makikita na ng fraction CFO. At least, hindi na magkasayang ng oras or mag-pivot na agad, maglipat na agad si founder. Even sa investor, di na magkasayang ng oras or even the risk pera, no? Second, sige, pasado, pwede, no? Preparation, preparation, not just yung parang compliance sa fundraising, but yung business model na, sound. Kasi, ang investor yung titingnan, di ba, kung kikita siya So, kailangan sound yung model, yung projections, etc. And yung third, I think yung packaging at the end of the day na how you will present this to a potential investor. Tama ba yun?
Yes, and also different investors have different parang ways to approach, di ba? So the motivation, say, of an angel investor is different from the motivation of a VC or even a PE. So make sure that you...
Ano yun last? Sorry?
A PE, private equity.
Private equity.
So, or even strategic acquirers, and iba rin kapag mag-IPO ka na. So, iba-iba yon. So, as founders, you have to research. You have to really to understand ano-ano yung characteristics nitong mga tina-target mong investors na to. And number 2, are they investing in your vertical? Or they investing in the industry where you are building your product or your startup in? Yeah.
So just to give a picture, may lumapit na ba sa'yo, Jay, na ayun, kung papatulong sa fundraising? Tapos, you ask them first. I think you ask them first eh. Ano ba talagang end goal? Kumbaga ang question ko rin is, ano ba yung, same sa kanina, may framework ba for you to help someone to fundraise? Like you ask them first, ano yung end goal, do they plan to exit or whatever, IPO or whatever. So, may parang framework ka rin ba for a startup who reaches out to you for fundraising help?
Oh, yes, definitely. So, kasi I need to be repeatable and scalable also, no? So, there's that framework, parang guiding pillars ko in assessing a potential client. Maybe it's a startup or a well-established business. So I can also assess, can I actually help or can I actually serve this client or hindi? Kung hindi, kung sa tingin ko I lack the skill set to serve, then i-refer ko sa ibang CFO friends ko. Diba? So marami naman sa
Is
community.
that domain? I mean, why tingin mo hindi ikaw yung for that? Like domain knowledge ba or size of a company? Or...
Yeah. So yes, tatlo yung titingnan ko. Number one is definitely, can I actually serve that client? So do I have the skill set, experience, expertise in that specific field? Oo.
Okay.
Well, I'm open naman to learn the new industry, pero kung feeling ko talagang merong mas better fitting na fractional CFO or CFO for that matter, i-refer ko
Baka
sila
may similar kasi na...
Yes, oo. So, may mga kaibigan naman tayo na na also doing that. So, magkakaibigan kami sa CFO space. But nagbabatuhan lang kami ng kliyente. So, pangalawa, na ina-evaluate ko is the size. Kasi okay, is this the proper timing for me to talk or to work with that founder? Kasi baka too early pa for us. Magsasayang lang sila ng pera, 'di ba? Or kung may pambayad sila, well and good kung may pambayad sila. So, pero ayaw naman naming abusuhin din na for the sake na kumita kami, 'di ba? At the end of the day, alam naman namin na we're too early pa for them.
Ito na question lang, sorry. And okay lang di sagutin kung ano pala ito. Yung mga ganyan deal ba? Fixed ba yung deal or meron din ba like pag natuloy yung fundraising may percent ang
Iba-iba.
Pero meron
Iba-iba.
ganun.
Oo. Ako yung tipo ng kasi Johnny na hindi ako nagde-demand ng percentage ng ganito, ganyan, no. Kasi hindi rin maganda sa optics, especially sa next investors na a huge percentage of the raise mapupunta kay one CFO, kay Jay Olos because hindi lang naman ako yung reason ba't nakapag-fundraise sila eh. 'Di ba? It's a collective effort. So, pero there are certain deals naman na ganun talaga yung structure ng deal in the industry, especially on the M&A space. So there's that fixed retainer, mergers and acquisition.
Okay.
So kapag meron ng company na gustong bumili or mabili siya ng another company, so there's a standard practice. You can just Google it or ChatGPT. Merong fixed retainer fee plus a certain percent of the deal value. So pwedeng ganon. So meron din kaming mga ganon. Kaya nga 'di ba, ang lakas ng loob kong mag-build ng tech product. Kasi kahit pa paano, kumikita kami sa mga ganun. So, yun. Yan, very transparent, sinagot ko.
Balikan natin yung sa size, yung kung kukunin mo yung so domain, expertise, size of the company. Ano yung mga nagmamatter?
Yung, sa size ng company, nasagot ko na yung size of company, no?
Medyo pa.
Yeah. So that, kasi baka sobrang early pa. Yung tipong wala pa silang idea stage pa lang talaga. Wala pa silang, syempre we prefer na kaya kaming bayaran, no. We don't what do you call this? Parang provider services for free. I tried it before na may parang sige, deferred payment na lang pag nakapag-fundraise ka. Kaso, sa dami kasi ng deals that in our pipeline, kumbawa ikaw, meron kang 10 na potential deals na naghihintay sa'yo, sinendan mo ng engagement letter. So, given the limited resource that you have also, your time and anong pipiliin mo yung walang pambayad o yung may pambayad na agad? 'Di ba? So, it's just business. So, pipiliin ko yung syempre yung kayang bayaran din yung fair value namin currently. Pero, Minsan kasi umaandar din yung pagka, as an angel investor, may mga favorites din ako eh. Pag nakakitaan ko ng, I super feel this startup. I think I really like this product. Minsan, kahit wala silang pondo, ako'y mag-i-invest. Para lang masimulan.
Hindi ka lang fractional CFO, investor ka na rin.
Yes. I have invested into around, last year alone, mga 6 companies. Pero before that, I have...
Magkano? Sorry, pag angel investor ba? Magkano ba usually ang ano?
Ako, nag-i-invest ako mga range lang ng from... Malaki na yung 50K USD. As an angel.
Wow, grabe.
Yun yung ano ko.
Oo.
Yun.
I-ano ko lang din yung question ng symptom. Pero I think two steps itong question na to. First, paano ba malalaman ng isang startup kung dapat siya mag-fundraise? I think dapat meron muna internal assessment.
Yes.
Tapos pangalawa, gusto na niya mag-fundraise. Pwede naman na hindi siya humingi ng tulong sa CFO or something. Pwede, so ano yung symptom or parang when niya need lumapit sa fractional CFO?
Unang-una, kapag hinanapan na siya ng financial model.
Hindi niya kayang gawin.
Na hindi niya kayang gawin.
Pwede ba yun sarilihin? Kaya ba yun gawin?
Kaya nilang gawin, pero kasi, when they pitch to these investors or somehow, by DNA, are finance people, no? Investors are finance people. Kung kinload lang nila AI, yung financial projection, babarilin din sila eh. So, pwede ba nilang sabihin na, ito yung sinabi ni Claude eh, or sinabi ni ano. So, mawawalan sila ng credibility doon, 'di ba? So dapat kung ano yung objective nila, how they plan to ano yung business nila. Tsaka as a fractional CFO, pag meron silang fractional CFO, magkakaroon sila ng sparring partner on their thought process. Especially sa amin sa One CFO. So we've been yung sa pagmamayabang, I have raised approximately $400 million na in my entire career as a tech CFO for the last 15 years. So I think walang ganun except me sa Pilipinas, no. So kahit pa paano, I have seen a lot of business models. I know the market. I know the product strategy. So nabibigyan ko sila ng add-on. Kaya yung mga hindi mo sa pagmamayabang, yung mga startups na nag-underwent sa amin, nagpapatulong on their fundraising, kahit pa paano, pag nakita ng mga VCs na, ay, dumaan kay One CFO to, meron dang silang parang comfort.
So ano rin, reputation, para may ganun din.
Yeah.
Pero so parang may tama ba na parang may specific language? May ganun ba? Parang, for example, an improviser startup founder can create the business model na tingin niya na mag-work. Pero may certain na hinahanap yung mga investors na maybe language. Maybe yung may mga tam-sam-som tayo.
Yes.
Ganun ba? May malaki factor ba yun?
Yes, definitely. Kasi yun din ang kagandahan ng isang fractional CFO na may tech orientation talaga. We speak the language of the investors or even the acquirers. So, as simple as unit economics.
Yes.
So, unit economics, the calculation of that varies depending also on the business model. There's no one size fits all solution. What is it's simple as what's your net churn, what is your retention rate, what is your net ARR, how much is the present value, if we do the discounted cash flow, what are the valuation depending on the valuation methodologies, whether it's venture capital method, multiple or use of comparables or precedents, mga ganon. So, kung founder ka that you don't have any finance background, is alien sa'yo yun. But you need somebody who can help translate those for you so that when you talk to investors, when they grill you on your pitch, you can answer them. Diba? So, a simple accountant cannot answer those. So, it's really parang requiring the experience and expertise of a fractional CFO like kami sa One CFO.
Now, if it's okay to ask, sa history ni One CFO, all sizes na ba yung natulungan yung mag-fundraise as in seed or pre-seed, angel, yung ganong level, even kay mga M&A, And talagang iba ba talaga yung how you deal with the different levels?
Yes.
Mm.
Iba-iba. Kasi iba-iba ng maturity din yung kausap mo and yung deal size. So, yeah, we experienced that from angel round to an M&A exit or parang, yun nga, buying and selling, no? Ang wala pa kami, honestly, kasi wala namang masyado nagli-list pa dito sa Pilipinas, di ba? Personally, in my previous company, yes, we got listed in Nasdaq. Pero limited lang din yung naging, kasi umalis na ako yung naging involvement ko. But I'm somehow familiar dun sa process, mga ganun. Pero, yeah, to answer your question, it varies. But the principles are the same.
Okay,
Iba lang yung atake when you say it's a $100 million deal.
Mm-mm.
Especially like, for example, may in-exit, may tinulungan akong mag-exit na company. This is not a startup. This is a huge company, multi-million dollars na deal. So, iba yung atake doon.
Okay. Anong pinakamarami? Kasi sa startup world, I mean, you're in the startup world din, di ba? Pero merong startup world na yung mga IT developers, yung mga solo founders, parang for me, may kinda wrong na ang unang inisip nila is fundraising. I mean, how to get money. Bago pa nag-build, bago pa may MVP nga yung iba, may idea pa lang, capital kagad. Marami ba talaga yung ganun nila malapit sa iyo? Or baka naman sa social media ko lang nakikita yun? Or I mean,
yes, maraming ganon. Maraming ganon. Kasi by default, ito kasi yung pangit no? As somebody who's been a tito in the space na rin, no? When we started, early or mid-2000s, hindi by default makapag-raise ng pera ang goal. But because right now kasi, recent years, nasi-sensationalize ng media. Parang
numbers game kasi.
nasi-sensationalize ng media yung nakapag-fundraise si ganito. So, a lot of founders now think na fundraising is a validation of their startup. No, it's not. Ako, honestly, ngayon tito na ako, as much as possible, I don't want to lose percentage of my ownership on my own company. Kasi the more that you raise money, the more you get diluted also.
Less ownership. Actually.
Oo, that's basically, and kapag dumadami rin, ito yung reality, no? Kapag dumadami rin yung nagiging kausap mo or ka-negotiate mo every now and then at your decision making at the board level. Kasi magre-require ng board seat yung mga yan. Pwedeng yung original idea mo or yung vision mo, maiba ngayon. So be careful really on who you deal with. Is that person or investor really is somebody who can help you? Kasi ikaw yung founder, ikaw yung nakakalam ng North Star niyan. Diba? Kung ano yung goal mo, yun. Okay, syempre, sabihin natin dapat may flexibility ka. Given, fine. Pero, if you just raise kasi for the sake of raising and validation, then you're doing it wrong. You won't be successful. The real deal founders na successful na alam ko, is they know exactly what they want. And in doing that, they just don't raise for the sake of raising, but they even control parang who are the investors I really want to work with. Ganon.
Yung sa validation, parang hindi mo na-validate sa users eh. Siguro na-validate mo sa may pera, sa investor, pero hindi mo na-validate sa users. So, and I think that's like the larger percent ng validation. Pero may mabibigay ka ba na parang, kunwari may lumapit sa'yo, parang pre-assessment, or parang nakikinig na to?
Oo naman.
Pre-assessment. Dapat na ba sila mag-fundraise? Or
Yes. Actually, the first, kapag pumunta pa kayo sa website namin, merong get free consultation. So, I do provide that. Kahit 1 hour lang, we talk, we discuss, for free.
Even mga yung as in solo founder,
Oh yeah.
That's good.
I don't discriminate whether it's solo or may co-founder sila. Walang ganon.
Ubus oras mo or ubus oras mo or something.
Then meron namang well, syempre, I also need to to manage kasi sinisend ko naman yung Calendly ko sa kanila. So sila pipili, di ba? Ganon.
So parang yun yung chat time with Jay Olo.
Oo. Minsan, when I attend events, ayun, nako-corner ako dun. So, yun, I talk to them. I give free consultation and advice.
Pero siguro let's end this this podcast. for fundraise, yung mga, hindi yung mga fundraiser yung mga gusto nga mag-fundraise, what can you advise? Ano yung pinaka-best advice that you think you can give them? Taking note na baka nga hindi pa sila nasa tamang time for fundraising or pakatama ng time pero may kailangan pa silang gawin. So ano yung best advice maybe that you can give them?
Again, this is coming from a tito na, no? I would say bootstrap as much as you can. And you only raise kapag talagang hindi nyo na kaya. Pag talagang wala na, you have exhausted all the means na pwede mong gawin to fund your startup by your own, then yeah, you open it up na for fundraising. Kasi bakit yun yung advice ko, no? Kasi ayoko kasing isipin ng mga founders na by default they need to raise capital agad. It's not the case. If you look into, there's so many successful companies nag-IPO, mga unicorns na who didn't even raise capital. 'Di ba? I think Mailchimp is one. I think even Shopify, no? Sino pa ba? Zoho. So, walang external funding tong mga to. Kaya honestly, ito yung mga idol ko na companies. I don't idolize companies na nagre-raise eh. Because I know, I've been there, I've done that. From seed to exit, there will be a certain period na mismo yung investors mo hindi na makapag-invest sa'yo. Because their hands are tied or siguro they lose na their belief in you because you did not deliver. So, the best source talaga of funding is yourself and your customers.
Bakit pala yung sila Shopify, sila Mailchimp, bakit sila nag-fundraise? O bakit sila
Hindi sila nag-fundraise.
IPO ba to? Ano ba to?
Hindi sila nag-fundraise.
Hindi sila nag-fundraise.
Walang external money. Wala.
Hanggang ngayon? Like,
yeah, check it out.
100% owned?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, check it out.
Yun talaga yung gusto ko. Kasi it's a game eh. It's a game. Tsaka check nyo it's a game eh. Parang, meron kang goal. As a business owner, meron kang goal. Gusto mong lumaki, gusto mong scale, gusto mong may ma-provide na value, may ma-create na value. Pero you have to play the game na, well, you need capital. Depende sa kailangan mo. But how much ownership, you need to balance natin, diba? Parang, how much ownership or how much change sa vision, sa control yung ibibigay mo. But at the end of the day, nakukuha mo yung papunta dun sa goal mo. Is that right, Jay?
Yes, it's a tough balancing act. You really need to be modeling out your cap table. You need to, parang, okay, may plan ka mag-fundraise, so given na. Actually, pag nakapag-fundraise ka na, bawa, seed round, there's always that expectation na sa seed investors mo that they will be looking for an exit along the way. So, wala na, natrap ka na dun sa game na yon. So, all you have to now do is to model out properly up to what extent are you willing to partake as ownership.
Tsaka I learned this sa so diba may of course you know more than me dito. May A, B, C, D ganyan.
Yeah.
Yung mga iba mag-invest sa A, magbebenta yan sa C eh.
Yeah, may mga ganon.
So pwedeng pag na-misplay mo yung game, na-misplay mo na hindi sila makakalabas, stuck ka na doon. Oo. So stuck na yung mababa na yung ownership mo, and then sabihin natin kakampi mo yung mga pumasok sa A. Yung pinagbentahan nila pwede maging adversarial sa iyo ngayon. So it's a tough balancing. It's a tough game really for a founder na syempre you don't want to lose control of your company. At the same time, you also want to deliver what you have promised to these investors. Last question, Jay.
Sige.
To get a picture. Ito muna pala. Usually, ilang % na lang yung natitira sa founder? May ganun ka ba parang number? Or
walang standard
iba-iba naman.
Iba-iba talaga eh. So, mag-google nyo naman. Like, for example, sila Mark Zuckerberg, I think double-digit ownership pa rin naman siya.
Pero mga
percentage.
10 lang, 10, 20?
Pero maliit. Maliit na lang din. There are also successful founders na nag-IPO na pwedeng single-digit na lang. Mga ganun. Pero hindi na sila yung majority owner.
Meet Lala, a freelancer who chose Gig Genius. Unlike many platforms that make freelancers pay just to apply, Gig Genius was built to put skills first, not spending. No pay-to-apply barriers, no bidding fees, just safer opportunities through dual system verification. Ready to experience the difference? Visit giggenius.io and join Gig Genius today.
Education is evolving, and so are we. Introducing School Tech by Edfolio, your all-in-one school management solution. built for schools of all sizes. SchoolTech bridges the gap between school and learning management. Driven by passion, SchoolTech makes educational technology accessible, affordable, and easy to use for schools everywhere. With an integrated approach, SchoolTech simplifies management across different departments and enhances efficiency in operations. SchoolTech transforms the way schools manage, teach, and learn. SchoolTech, taking school management solutions to the next level.
Running a business? Make it smarter with Red Circle Global. Streamline operations, boost productivity, and manage everything in one powerful ERP system. Book your free business demo today at redcircleglobal.com, guided by one of our top experts.
Now, ito yung question. Kasi nakikita ko, may iba sa West tsaka sa East East, mga Asian, Well, Y Combinator, di ba ang standard nila yung 8%? They get 8% of the company for, I forgot
500?
500,000 USD.
Yeah.
Tapos, ang pansin ko sa West, US, medyo liberal yung walang, kumbaga, they invest, they help you, and they trust you that you grow. Medyo liberal approach Nanggaling din kasi ako sa Asia, nanggaling ako Taiwan And doon, natutunan ko, wala mag-i-invest sa'yo ng 8%, 5%, laging 51%. Ano tingin mo doon?
Well, yung mga 51% investors ba, are they investing in the tech industry?
Kasi, well, wag niyong i-generalize pero itong observation ko, sa Taiwan kasi, puro semiconductor manufacturing, mga startups.
Yeah.
Factories baka mali itong observation ko pero, and I'm sure marami din namang mga liberal sa Taiwan, sa Asian, pero, ang turo sa akin ng mga tao doon ito, funny lang na, no, you will not get 5% ganyan. You will get, ang mag-invest lang sa'yo, mga 51%. Ano tingin mo dun ka?
Well, for the semiconductor industry, which is a very traditional industry, kasi hardware-based yan, di ba? And it's been decades na. Yes, 51, kasi that imposes control, di ba, for an investor. Pero kaya tinanong ko, tech industry ba yan? Kasi I also know tech startups in Taiwan, even accelerators and incubators and investors there na hindi naman 51% yung inaano nila. So I think it's a matter of what kind of industry.
Yes, it gets.
Yun. So for kung totoong mga tech startups to na scalable, then they will still want parang kay Y Combinator or even yung other normal ng percentage ng mga company, mga investors sa mga companies.
Yeah, true. So mali pala yung generalize ko na West tsaka East. It's really siguro a matter of industry and kung gaano ka traditional or kung gaano ka parang aggressive tech yung
Pero just to baka tama rin yung sinabi mo kasi for example lang kasi ayun parang control na yun, acquisition na yun 51%. Pero kung strategic investors naman, meaning to say they're not really a VC, they're not into valuation game then exit, but they find value in your company. That's why they want to invest. And I can share right now, sa One CFO, maraming akong nakakausap. They want to invest because they see value in what we're doing. Value in the sense na it can complement their ecosystem, their product, their service. So, strategic.
Anong perk for them? They plan to sell? Anong perk for them? When you exit, they plan to sell?
Well, syempre, andun na yung na yun. If ever I exit, they get some upside on the exit amount. But at the same time, meron ding benefit to their, for example, their main business.
So pwedeng ganun.
Like for example, I think without naming names, but I've been there was a point in time that I got into a strategic potential investor, strategic siya. They're coming from outside of the country and they look at One CFO really as a multiplier in the professional services industry. And they've been investing into that industry. So maraming ngayong nangyayaring mga M&A in the accounting firms in the West or even those side of the world. But they, instead of building their own technology, they just want to invest in One CFO and bring the One CFO technology there. So that's strategic.
Gets. Ngayon ko natutunan yun. Ang alam ko kasi yung parang common na they get equity, they sell when you sell, ganun. Pero may mga ganito rin pala arrangements. Actually, napaka-broad nito, grabe. Dito kasha in 30 minutes yung about fundraising.
I hope it makes sense,
Yeah, actually, ang laki Parang ang nangyari pa ngayon, baka even the listeners siguro, nalaman, ang laki nito, ang complicated ng fundraising. Dito kasha in 30 minutes. So, mahaba-haba usapan na lang to.
Gusto mo mahabang usapan, kailangan ng beer dito.
But I think, sige, yun na muna tayo, Jay. Thank you for sharing. And sana yung mga nakinig nito, may siguro, first step, nalaman nyo na may problem kayo eh. And second, siguro, when you find out that you have a problem, you find a possible solution, sana, through our conversation with Jay. So, ayun, thank you very much, Jay. If our listeners want to know more about you or One CFO, baka meron dyang startup na may problema sa cash flow management, kailangan na magbayad, or gusto mag-fundraise and they really need help, they're really confused where to start, or how to package for investors. So, how can they connect with you?
Yes, so you go to our website po, onecfoph.co. That's onecfoph.co. Hindi comma, walang M. onecfoph.co. And then, hanapin nyo doon yung get free consultation. So, you just click that, accomplish nyo lang yung mga, it's a Google form. So, it gives me an idea of what the pain points are initially. And then we can schedule that consultation, free consultation with you.
Yeah, tsaka tama. Based on the pain points, that's how companies like One CFO should approach.
Yes.
Ayun. Sige, thank you very much, Jay, for ating very first business strategy tips episode ng Startup Podcast PH. I hope makatulong ito sa ating mga listeners. Salamat. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our 66 patrons. This episode is super powered by AskLex PH Academy, our official e-learning partner. Get certifications on Lean Six Sigma, project management, data science, and more. Cloud CFO. Cloud CFO provides expert accounting, tax, and payroll services for SMEs and startups using smart technology to deliver actionable financial insights. Architect Space Solutions. Architect provides ground station services, space data analytics, and technology supplies to grow the Philippines' role in the global space ecosystem. DiviCode Technologies Incorporated, IT solutions specializing in software development, blockchain, smart contracts, digital wallets, and cybersecurity. Argum AI makes smarter decisions by presenting both sides of an issue as argued by two distinct AI models. Pixel by Implement, turn content into opportunity, grow deeper connections, and earn more. Only with Pixel. Sign up at pixel.implement.co. School of Profits, Filipino-led community for aspiring freelancers, VAs, agency builders, and online earners, built to help you start, grow, and earn online together. Founders Launchpad, our ecosystem partner, early stage accelerator providing venture capital funding, operational support, and mentorship. Hire Business Solutions, provider of the most configurable cloud-based payroll system in the Philippines. Agile Data Solutions, the Philippines' fastest growing market insights tech company with its data gathering platform, HustlePH. Smile Checks, streamline hiring and onboarding with automated background checks. Cloverly, all-in-one digital platform for property developers. Body Beauties, accessible and personalized diabetes self-management application. Hyperstocks, digital banking enabler for rural and thrift banks. Wonderbrand, data science-driven brand strategy and design for emerging markets. This episode is powered by Pareto Consulting, Josie AI, Uplift Code Comp, Board Prep, Kanzen Barley, East Point Business Outsourcing Services, Filipina Home-Based Moms, Hex Colony, Jur.ph, Big Giant Games, Pahatid PH, Sugbudok, Agacon Aquafeeds, Juan Alj, Grey Wolf Technologies Philippines, Sirius MD. Support the podcast through the link in the description.